Hello, Janice.
Hello, Anthony.
Today we're going to cover 5 tips for banking with estates. I'm doing a lot of estate ones recently, but we're just diving right into these probates we've had a lot of lately, so it's kind of top of mind for us. All right. So, if you're in an estate situation, whether you're the executor or just a family member kind of monitoring the situation, you know that an estate needs an estate checking account, right? That's where when you collect the deceased person's accounts or sell the house, the cash has to go somewhere, at least for a short time being, and that goes into an estate checking account. So opening that sounds easy enough, right? No.
You can't see my eye rolls and my giggling as you say how easy it is. So today we're going to discuss forgetting about online and going to a branch. And not all branches are created equal. Deposits, medallion guarantees, and quid pro quo.
Very good. All right, let's dive right into these. So go to a branch. So if you're opening your personal checking account, if you're a recent college grad or, just somebody who's switching banks, it's actually really easy these days. Do you remember what it was like opening an account way back when, Janice?
Oh, you had to go to the bank and sit down with the manager and you had to bring all your documents and it was a process.
So for personal accounts now, it feels like it's like no more than 3 to 5 clicks just to, you just cycle through the screens, fill out the forms, and bing, bang, boom, you have an account.
And done. Yes.
But no, not so for estate accounts. Estate accounts are more like how it was for Janice and I, however many moons ago. Yeah.
100 years ago, right?
You need to do things in originals. You need to do them in front of a bank personnel. And you have some certain original documents, death certificates, letters testamentary that you need to bring with you. And you would think you could scan them and email or fax them. No. I mean, they might say you can. I think we've had a case where we thought we were snookered into thinking we could do it online. And then we did. And then they're like, okay, cool. We have everything now. Come into the branch to review everything.
Come in anyway so we can look at it all. Right.
So don't even bother with the online stuff. It's just not there yet. Again, maybe in 5 years, 2025, maybe. Actually, let's be more realistic, 2030.
Yeah, pretty much. We'll report back in about a decade.
But yeah, just assume you need to go to a branch. And oh, by the way, it has to be, if you're a New York estate, it has to be a bank that is located in New York. There is some question. Look, so if you're, Chase obviously has branches here in New York. Can you open it with a Chase branch in Mississippi? That's a bit of a gray area, and it could cause problems later. It's better to do it here in New York. And one of the reasons why you want to have an executor who's located here. You have to walk into a branch for this. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Not all branches are created equal. So what do I mean by this? So let's use Chase for an example. Chase can be good for estate accounts, but it depends on which branch you go to. And that sounds insane.
Yes.
Shouldn't they all be the same, right? They all have that blue logo and
not even close.
Yeah. So for whatever reason, every branch is different. It's almost like a franchise system where, the owner or the manager of each branch is going to have a very different run a very different ship, as it were. Yeah.
Yes.
So culturally, you'll have a branch where everything is greeted with a shrug of the shoulders, like, "Hi, I'm here to open an estate account." Oh, do you know what that is?
What's that? How do you do that?
I have my letters testamentary. Letters, what? I mean, you just kind of. I mean, this is Chase, a very reputable, large, whatever. I think it's the largest bank, maybe Bank of America. And by contrast, if I walk, let's say, 2 avenues over to another Chase branch managed by a slightly, let's just say, different manager.
Yes.
I walk in and say, "Hi, I'm here to open an estate account." "Oh, wonderful. Do you have your letters testamentary with you, your death certificate?" "Oh, wonderful. Let me come in and have a seat. We're going to get you through this as quickly as possible." I mean, it's just night and day between one branch and the other,
And you're not making this up. This is an actual true story. Maybe not Chase, but this happens.
It's Chase, but yeah.
Okay, well, I was trying to be
I
nice.
guess I shouldn't.
I'm trying to be Chase, but it is what it is. I mean, this has happened, a couple times.
So some branches you go in And at worst, they'll ask the manager to, double check something, and the manager will get it through. Oh, I need to make sure I'm allowed to do this. But, excuse me, in other branches, you're literally, I can't make this up. You'll sit down with even somebody as high as the branch manager, and they'll say, okay, that's a good question. A state account, huh? Let's call and ask. And you'll be sitting there while they speakerphone dial I think it's called the back office, or the central bureaucracy, and you're basically sitting there watching somebody else do the beep, beep. Press 2 for this, and then you're
time is 4 minutes,
and you're just sitting there while somebody who's purportedly a professional in this area is asking like the most minute questions to get you supposedly on your way. So. Bottom line, not all branches are created equal. We actually have a lot of experience. We kind of know which branches to avoid and which ones to go to. If you don't have that experience, you're kind of playing roulette a little bit. I guess my tip to you would be, walk in, and if you get that sense that you're going to have that one of the more negative experiences, don't be afraid to stand up and walk out and try the next branch.
Yep.
Not a big deal,
You'll find the one that's, because you're going to have to deal with them this entire process.
Yep. And
if you're having trouble when you first walk in and they don't know, imagine what kind of trouble you're going to have at the end when you're trying to cash out or, do something with it.
Excellent segue to the next point. Estate deposit problems. Okay. So
yes,
you want to have a good branch or a good bank in general, because here's one example of a problem that might come up in the future. Okay. So if you have an estate and you're collecting bank accounts, insurance policies, selling a house, closing brokerage accounts, you have a lot of different checks coming in, right?
Yes.
So one example is you might have, let's use John Smith, right, to keep it nice and anonymous. You might have some checks that read payable to John Smith. You'll have some checks that read payable to the estate of John Smith. You'll have some checks payable to Anthony Park as executor for the estate of John Smith. And then you'll also have John A. Smith or John Smith Jr. Basically, not all of these on one person, hopefully, but you'll have a lot of variants, right?
Yes, we have seen it.
A good bank or a bank experienced within estates will understand that these are all the same person, right? As long as that they legally match the documentation we provide.
Oh, absolutely.
A shoulder shrugging bank, I'll call it, or bench, will give you headaches and may go so far as not allowing you to deposit those checks, which puts you in the expensive and headache position of having to go back and have those checks reissued, which can cause more problems. Or worst case scenario, you have to open a second estate account somewhere else where they'll actually honor your checks. We've been through this. These are the headaches we're trying to help you avoid.
That's right. And getting a check reissued by any major,
oh my goodness,
anyone is it's a struggle. It's a big struggle.
Look, we're not talking about a coal miner, sweatshop struggle. Let's be realistic here. But in the course of a year-long bureaucratic slog, why add to your headaches? That kind of struggle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So another area where working with a shoulder-shrugging bank can be a problem is signature or signature medallion guarantees or medallion signature guarantees?
I think it's medallion signature guarantee.
Very good, very good. Okay, so Janice, do you remember? Are you able to tell us what those are?
So I always look at it, the medallion signature guarantee is like a notary on steroids. You
nice.
can right. I don't know how else to explain that in layman's terms, but you can have a document notarized. Mm-hmm. But if you want to one up a notary, you have to get a medallion guarantee. Is that a good way to put it?
I think that's the best way for most people to understand it. For anyone who wants a slightly more technical explanation, basically only banks or financial institutions can do this. You can't go to a pharmacy or stationery to do this. And that's because the medallion guarantee is guaranteeing the underlying financial transaction. Right? So if you're transferring, $100,000 out of a brokerage account and they want a medallion guarantee, they basically want somebody to say, if there's anything fraudulent with this transaction, the institution that provided that stamp is going to cover us. And that's why it's kind of a big deal.
Yep. And we see those a lot it's all the financial transactions that you have to go through, like you said, stocks and such.
So yeah, anytime you're collecting or liquidating stocks or bonds or brokerage accounts, you usually have to do this. So what does this have to do with estate banking? Again, if you have one of those shoulder shrugging banks, We've been through this. We had a situation where they
have.
simply wouldn't do it for us, even though we had our estate account with them. So Janice, what did you end up having to do? You had to go directly to
No, I ended up sending you to a few different places,
Oh
which
my
is
goodness.
really great for a paralegal. We discussed that on my review. But anyway, sent you to one bank and they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Right. And then another bank we had trouble with. And then I just sent you to the courthouse to do it. And it was kind of one thing after another. And ultimately we had to find a different way. But in all of that, what I just said, you're talking money and time and a lot of headaches to get something that was absolutely required for the next step in the process.
And that was absolutely doable by the bank. Had the bank been,
if they knew, if they understood.
I'm going to say competent. Yeah,
No,
say competent.
I think what they do, though, unfortunately, is they always cite their internal policies, which completely counteract and contradict of the normal rules, right?
Yep.
Like, so you'll go in and you'll have all your ducks in the row. We were working with something with the Treasury Department with bonds, and we had the Treasury Department's information from the United States Treasury. And you go into the bank, assuming they would know, but they quoted their internal policy as reason they couldn't do it.
So basically, the bank wouldn't honor what the U.S. Treasury directed. Correct. Which, again, I just call bureaucratic shenanigans because I'm pretty darn sure if I had gone to a different branch of the same bank, it would have gotten done. But we had already opened our estate account with them, so
they were stuck.
Boo.
Right?
Yeah.
You were stuck. We were stuck. We got it done. It took a long time, but we did get it.
Well, anyway, that branch made the list. They are now on our list.
They did. They did. You're not going back there, I know for sure, and I'm certainly not sending you back there ever again. Oh.
Okay, last point on banking with estate accounts. So just be aware that just like most things in life, there may be some quid pro quo involved here.
Yes.
So what I mean by that is bankers have incentives, just like anyone else, right? And part of their compensation or performance is tied to opening new accounts, right?
Absolutely.
So if you're so basically what I'm saying is choose with whom you open your estate account with carefully, because it's a token that you can use to trade with, I want to say, I guess.
Yeah.
So let's say you have a decedent, someone who passed away with 3 bank accounts. One at, I'm going to just pick names at random. Bank of America has $10,000 in it. Wells Fargo has $50,000 in it. And Citibank has $500,000 in it, right? The account that you want to make sure you get to is the $500,000 one. I mean, you want to get to them all, but the one you want to have the least risk of headaches is with the biggest one. So then in all likelihood, you probably want to open, all other things being equal, you probably want to open your estate account with Citibank, because that will incentivize them to make sure that transfer happens as quickly and as smoothly as possible. And then if you might have headaches or whatever with what did I say, Bank of America and Wells Fargo?
Yes.
But the downside is a lot smaller because the dollar amounts are less. So you want to use where you're opening the estate account judiciously, because it will motivate your banker. It shouldn't. I mean, I get it that everyone should just do their job, right? But I'm just being realistic here. You will get the best service from where you open your estate account. So you use that knowledge accordingly.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now let's close on that very, very cynical note and wrap this one up.
So if you want to learn more, not just with opening an account, but how this whole process works, I recommend Anthony's book, How Probate Works, available on Amazon. It's short, it's quick, but it's just going to dig into some of this stuff so you can thwart these problems before you get to that point of needing it.
Yeah, I hope this this episode illustrates sort of the nitty gritty, the kind of stuff you can't learn on Google. Basically, like the day-to-day shortcuts and hacks of how to make a probate work as smoothly as possible for you, that you can only really get from having already lived with the headaches, basically.
Or a professional executor that kind of knows the ins and outs. It's always a great idea.
Okay. Well, thanks again, Janice, for jumping on here. Thank everyone else for listening, and we will talk next time. Take care.
Talk soon.